I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're venturing into the intricate tapestry of the human experience with Vladimir Torchilin's latest collection. It is called The Netsuke from San Francisco. The author masterfully captures the irrationality and bizarre essence of everyday life across continents, offering readers a unique lens through which to view the ordinary turned extraordinary. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank our team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his wonderful book. The links are below this interview. Vlad, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Logan. All pleasure is mine.
This is such a great work. Your stories really bridge the cultural and existential landscapes of Russia and America. What inspired you to explore these diverse settings and the universal absurdities found within them?
Thank you very much, Logan, for your nice words.
Sure.
The writing is it's a pretty special thing. You do it because you cannot not do it. It just fills you till the moment you release it. Because before you do it, you cannot do anything else. I mean, it takes your brain, it takes your time. So it's difficult to say what drives. But my life is pretty well divided into two almost equal parts. Life in Soviet Russia, Soviet Union, because I left it long before it became set of republics. It still was Soviet Union. And then my life in United States, in America for another 40 years, which again, over these years, changed dramatically. And not always in a way I like. But that's another story. So I was exposed to a unique mixture of what you could see in absolutely totalitarian, just a terrible country, and then what you can see in a very different world with its own problems. But, people are people everywhere. Simple, ordinary people, sometimes they even do not notice what exactly system they are living in. They just live. And their life is complicated by a variety of means which are not necessarily related to political issues. Just the life is a difficult story. Life is, in general, is a tragic story, at least in my view. So, and those experiences and impressions were accumulating, and eventually they were converted into separate short stories. I never had time for long stories because my other life is a life in science, which requires a lot of time and complete devotion. So it was pretty difficult to divide myself, and I found the way in writing short stories. It's easier.
Yeah. And it's easier for the reader too, because they can get a lot out of the one story, put it aside, and then focus on another story another day. The title of your book, The Netsuke from San Francisco, suggests a connection to Japanese art and culture. Can you tell us a little bit about the significance of the Netsuke in your collection and how it symbolizes the themes in your book that you explore?
Sure, my pleasure. When I was a kid, I mean really kid, like 14, 15, teenager, I read a book of a very popular author of that time in Russia. Eventually he became known internationally, Anatoly Rybakov. And one of his books was about the boy who is involved in like a pretty complex story with adult people. Just somebody was traitor, somebody was just dishonest, but all was rotating around Netsukes. And this is when I, for the first time, saw this word. And he briefly explained what Netsuke are. It's a Japanese counterweight to bear some pill box over your belt. You cannot put box behind your belt because it will slide down. So what they did, they made a counterweight so you can just hang it over the belt. But Japanese, being highly aesthetic people, they could just make a counterweight. They make the whole art out of this.
Right.
And those counterweights were done almost from everything. I mean, metal, bone, ivory, plastics, whatever. But still, they always represent animals, people, the different small stories set in very miniature figures. In Soviet Union, it's impossible to find it because they were too small to be exposed in museums. Once I was allowed to see the hidden collection of this stuff, and I was just absolutely thrilled. So I never thought that, okay, this is what I will be collecting. But when I immigrated to United States, first I discovered that at different auction and Oriental shops, you can't just buy it in Netsuke. And like about 40 years back, I started to collect them piece by piece. Actually, it's not that easy to collect really good pieces, but I was trying. So it occupied a lot of my time and required some knowledge. And then you know how in stories is, a lot of different stories come together to build one you are writing.
Yeah.
So I was interested in Netsuke's and I bought some of them in San Francisco. So I witnessed a story of love of my friend and his former student in the United States. So it came together. So, and this is how the story appeared when the professor meets his to-be love in San Francisco, and they start their at least emotional relationships in Netsuke's store. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, it's very, very interesting background on that. So I appreciate you explaining to us. You know, each story in your collection gives us a glimpse into the complex world of your characters. Is there a particularly memorable character or story from the collection and the idea behind it that you'd like to share with us right now?
Probably the very first story, The Stairs. I mean, the story itself is pretty simple. Like, not very healthy man is trying to get to the dinner, which is on the top of the hill, using not a car, using just not streets which go, you know, like a spiral to the top of the hill, but the stairs, which is very steep. And during the fight with these stairs, it was very difficult for him to climb. He's getting tired, his heart doesn't work well, so, and he remembers a lot of stuff, a lot of this stuff. Eventually, to make long story short, he dies, not reaching the top of the stairs. So history for itself is like pretty simple. Old man was trying to get upstairs and died because of overexercise. But actually, for me, it was like a reflection of our life, because the whole life is climbing on pretty steep stairs.
Yeah.
And on each step, when we feel tired or disappointed, whatever, we are looking back and we are trying to recall something, we are trying to remember something which can explain us why we are here, what's going on with us. So it was a pretty symbolic story, a very sad story, but actually, to be fair, I like it because it was short enough and the message was very clear. I just succeeded to express it in the way I felt.
Absolutely. And it is very, very impactful, that's for sure. Tell us what you hope from reading this collection of stories that the reader takes away or learns, or what type of wisdom would you like to impart on them?
Logan, it's a tough story. You know, when you write, you actually express yourself.
Right.
So what you want the reader to get familiar with you, with yourself. So this is the main message. But if we will try to like translate it into simplistic wording, it probably would be like there are two most important things we are given with. It's life itself and it's love during this life. So if this will reach my reader, I would be happy.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And those are great, great lessons for people to be aware of, that this life really is about living. It is about life and it is about love. And those are the most important things. Your life certainly isn't sweet without it. That's for sure. Vladimir Torchilin has written a powerful collection of stories. It is called The Netsuke from San Francisco. And he has masterfully captured both the irrational and bizarre essence of everyday life across continents. You will love these stories. They're an easy read, but they are not simplistic. They're simple and beautiful and well written and well told. You will absolutely enjoy these stories and this book. Vlad, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
No, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit about myself and what I'm doing. I mean, thank you.
Well, it was fascinating, and I appreciate your time. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.